sitting in Bali at my villa, and I'm gonna show you guys behind the scenes of how I run my marketing agency. And I'm gonna show you how we structure our dashboard to keep on top of all the accounts. And I'm also gonna show you the $100,000 mistake by not tracking where our sales come from. Come with me, let's go behind the scenes. We launched the agency in October last year, and I'm gonna show you exactly how our trajectory has been every single month. October 2024, November 30,000, December 36,000, January 45, February 39. Now stop there. Guys, as I said in my previous video, for the first few months, we didn't have a client acquisition strategy. That is the numbers there, right? That is just from anyone can hit that number. Anyone can hit that 25, 30, 40K a month. It's easy, you don't need a strategy. I'm gonna show you exactly what happened when we implemented this exact client acquisition strategy into the business, and you're about to see how fast we grew. February, 39,000. March, 156,000. And that doesn't include, we also have a few direct debits as well. So that actually isn't the true cost. We literally 5x the business in 1 month, 5x it from this one strategy. April, 109, May, 220K. 220K in May. Guys, this is what happens when you actually follow a system. When we started, we didn't have a system, we just winged it, all right? There's always a low-hanging fruit in the market. It's very easy to get a few wins on the board. There's always people in the market who are just easy to sell to. But you can clearly see here, guys, we literally launched this agency in October, and we're already doing months like this. And mind you, it's not even 100% accurate because we have a lot of contract value where we're still waiting on cash collected. So that is literally cash collected. We still have around about another 100K that we're still waiting in contracted value. Plus we have people that do direct debit straight into our account. So the proof is in the pudding, guys. We've done it before. We have an agency. We still actively run this agency. It still does extremely well. Everything I'm teaching you is not just made up. It's exactly what we use in our own agency. That's how we know it works. Welcome to the scene, the one and only Mariah. Hi. Introduce yourself. Let's do it. We want to do an interview here. So this incredible woman here, she was the brains behind it. As I said in the previous video, she come up with this amazing strategy that she's used over 6 years now in multiple different offers. So tell us a little bit about it. Why is this strategy so successful, and why have you been able to see success not only in this business but with econ courses, with crypto courses? Tell us why.
It's just the most efficient. You want to have the least amount of friction going from start to finish, from when a lead comes in to it being sold. We want to give them as much value as possible, as much free value as possible. A lot of people think that you need to have these paywalls for everything. You don't. The more stuff you give away for free, the better. If people think this is what I'm getting and I'm not even paying this much for it, imagine what I'm getting when I'm sold. So if you can give as much value, make it as streamlined as possible, and make it as efficient as possible, you've basically sold the lead before the sales call.
Guys, I just want to give you all a bit of backstory as well, just so you understand who we are. I think it's always important. Before you work with people, know exactly who you're working with. So Mariah, I want you to share a little bit about your experience, what you've done over the last 6 years. You've obviously been in this space for probably longer than myself as well, we know that. But tell us a little bit about your experience, what you've done to date, what you've currently been doing, and why you understand this industry so well.
Yeah, well, I started in end of 2019, 2020, which was, I don't even think ClickFunnels and things like that were a thing back then. It was like one of the first courses that I've heard of. And I started off as a setter, so literally set from the start, and then went into closing and management and everything else after 6 years. And I've watched in every industry in e-commerce for a really big e-commerce brand in Australia. Mm-hmm. And we tried and tested so much stuff. Like we tested so much stuff in the span of those 6 years. And so I know what works and what doesn't. And there's a lot of things that people, like limiting beliefs that people have in their head. Even myself, I'm like, there's no way this is going to work, and it's worked. And I'm like, this is definitely going to work, and it hasn't worked. And I think people need to really look at actual stats and what it shows versus, the things that we think are going to happen or how people are going to respond. But yeah, we've tested it in e-com, tested it in crypto, and now doing it in tradie. But there's systems. Like if you just follow the systems, it's not even big things that you need to change. But if you can just follow systems and implement them properly, the smallest things make the biggest changes. So,
and I just want to ask you as well, obviously you've been in this for 6 years now. Yeah. With this exact system, what are the biggest numbers you've seen a company do? Obviously you've been with the e-com company, they're quite large. Like what are some of the biggest months they've done?
Over around 2 mil a month.
2 million a month, and that's using the exact same client acquisition strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy. Now, I just want to break on. So one of the things, and I've mentioned this in my other videos previously, right, is how important the appointment setters are. And we used to just have a quick phone call that maybe like 4 or 5 minutes, right? And what Mariah taught us is that it needs to be a little bit longer. I want you to break down exactly how important that first phone call is with the appointment setter and how long it should be and what they should do on there.
Yeah, well, the most important thing in an appointment setting call is to make them like you. Everything else can be trained. You need to have a good personality and be personable. You want them, like the biggest thing is show up right on the next call. And how do we get them to increase show up on the next call? One, like you so they can show up on the next call because they feel like they're doing it for you. They've spoken to you on the call. They want to make you kind of proud and make you happy because you've built that relationship. So building a relationship on the set of call and then get them invested. If you have a 5-minute phone call with someone, what's the chances that they're going to show up on that next call? It's not high. If you have a 15-minute phone call with someone and invested that time, the chance of them showing up on the next call is a lot higher. I think getting them to invest a lot more in that first call just allows them to feel like they've been heard, you've gone through their problems, you've screened them out, both qualifying for us, like in terms of financials, because you do need to make sure they're qualified for the closes on that next sales call. You don't want to be booking in unqualified appointments for many reasons. One, feedback back to ads and Meta for finding what leads we want, and then 2, you don't want to take up spots in the calendar for unqualified leads, especially if you've got not a lot of capacity, because you want leads that are qualified to be booked in as soon as possible. And if you've got a calendar flooded with unqualified leads, it just pushes the good ones out further. So yeah, those setup calls are so important, like so important. People think that setting is just setting, but it's not. Like setting is really, it's the first point of contact. Like I am very
forefront.
It's the forefront. Like any feedback that you should get from ads should be from those setters, because those are the ones that are calling in they're in the war zone. So they're the ones on the front, and you need to be taking what they're saying super seriously and getting their feedback every day.
Another thing that I wanted to dive into, right? So what we used to do, we obviously always had a VSL. We filmed a VSL from the start, but we would do sales calls over Google Meet or video calls, and we didn't really care if they'd watch the VSL. Obviously, we wanted them to, but it was never like a requirement. Once Mariah came in and said, "No, we need to restructure everything. They need to watch the VSL. We need to move to phone calls." I want you to kind of tell the audience a little bit, why is it so important that they've watched that VSL before the call, and why is it so important that we actually do it over a phone call versus a video call?
Yeah, well, the VSL is basically, if someone doesn't watch the VSL, like I'm a firm believer of rescheduling the call. Like I won't take a sales call if they haven't watched the VSL, because it's priming them. Like one, you want them to take the process seriously. Like you want to tell them, if you haven't watched this VSL, if you haven't taken the time to watch this VSL, then how serious are you taking this process? Like how serious do you want to work with us and set that framework of authority. So yeah, they need to watch the VSL also because there's a lot of value in that VSL. Like you want to understand, why they've come to us and how we can kind of help them. That VSL shows them that, and basically again pre-sells, because Hayden's awesome in a VSL. And if you ever it also has to be a good VSL. It's not a VSL for the sake of a VSL. It's a VSL to actually provide value. And then once they've watched that, they're in the prime mental position to basically, that's a pre-sale, and then you basically close them on that sales call. What's the second question?
Secondly, why did we transition from doing Google video calls to Zoom calls, which most people do? Everyone's like, you got to do a Google call, right? Why did we change to phone calls, and how did that make such a big difference in our business? Yeah,
that was crazy, because for me, I think phone calls is the only way I've ever gone. So hearing people do Zoom calls is so strange to me, but I just think that's such a friction point. Not everyone's going to be available for a Zoom call. Things, especially in tradies, traders getting called out left, right, and center, and no one's going to be prepped to sit on a Zoom call all day. And if something comes up, you don't want to miss the chance of getting them because they have to be sitting down for a Zoom call. A phone call, the amount of sales that I've gotten over the phone when people are driving is insane. I remember when I told Hayden, I wasn't expecting Hayden to implement it so quick, but that's where the speed to action comes in. The day after, he took a sales call and the guy was driving and he sold the lead, and he would not have got that sale if it had been a Zoom call. It's just
that was 10K cash collected. Also, asking for card details over the phone, it's so important. As soon as you send someone a link, that's an opportunity for them to leave, right? If I send someone a link and then all of a sudden their kid comes up and gets in their way, and now their girlfriend's on the phone, and then she's saying, I just got a bill, and you got done with speeding, and all of a sudden your boss is calling up and complaining, it adds so much friction. So you want to get them while they're hot, right? The moment they say yes. It's like at a supermarket, if someone's putting food through the grocery store, you don't sit there and go, well, how do you want to pay? Do you want to come back in a week and pay? I'll send you you through an invoice and you can come back and pay, you take payment right there. They're coming to buy something off you, and that's the way we need to treat it. When someone's on the phone, they're there right now to buy. So you don't let them get off that phone until you've taken their credit card details. So that's the most important thing. Now, I just wanted to dive on one more thing, right? We know that if we can take the show up rate from 50% to 65%, it doubles revenue. It doesn't sound like much, 15%. What does that really do? It literally doubles your revenue. So I'm gonna ask you exactly, how do we increase that show up rate from 50 to 65% or even up to 70% at times?
Yeah, there's a lot. Again, that first call is super important, is to get that investment from the setter, making sure that when they're booking in the call, like throughout the call again, building that that investment, and also make them like you. I always tell my setters, get one laugh on the call, like make them laugh one time, to get that dopamine feeling. And then also when you're setting the call and booking in a call, making sure that there's nothing that can come up, and just asking a simple question like, are you sure you can make 4 p.m. tomorrow? Is there any reason why you couldn't? And that sparks them to think, oh, I've actually got pickup, or I've actually got this. Really doubling down and saying, okay, well, I'm just letting you know we're super packed out at the moment, so if you miss the call, we won't be able to reschedule. Is there any reason why? Just affirming that on that setter call is super important. And then the process from after the setter call, so once the setter hangs up to prior to the sales call, again, sending the VSL, you can send a text reminder, and also have a setter call them day before or morning of to confirm their appointment as well, to increase show up rate. But yeah, it's really about making them feel like they can take the process as seriously as possible, like making sure that they're actually available for the call, having a setter follow up, confirming that appointment, sending a morning text as well, just to remind them, and getting them to confirm why, or if they don't reply, we'll cancel the appointment, just things like that to help increase show up rate.
Amazing. Now I have one last question. Mariah's been in the game for 6 years. She's done thousands of sales calls. She's collected millions of dollars in cash, right? She's been on multiple offers in different industries, courses, info products, in our agency models, everything like that. I want to ask you, right, you've obviously seen closers, you've obviously seen people do extremely well, but you've probably seen people that haven't done too well, and times where the business hasn't done too well. What would you say the number one cause of why these businesses don't actually perform and hit the numbers they want to hit?
I mean, there's a lot on the ad side, there's a lot on the sales side. You know, if ads fatigue or ads don't do well, then it's tough for closers and setters to get those sales and sets. Communication is so important across the board. You need to know what's happening in your company. I think honestly that the times when things have been the worst is when the founder or the owner has stepped back from the business and doesn't know what's actually happening in the company, doesn't know their numbers, doesn't
She's
know what's
blaming that on
happening.
me, by the way.
No, I'm not.
That was an attack on me there. I felt that attacked.
No, it's not. But it's so important to have people that you rely on in a company.
Yeah.
Like at the management level, you have to know what's going on. Like you
Yeah.
have to know what's happening on those phone calls. You have to know what's happening on the sales calls. You just have to have a good feel and a good finger on the pulse, because things can run away so quickly, especially when you're starting up. Like things can run away so quick, so you just have to be on top of things all the time. Honestly, it's probably changing things that are working well. Like a lot of people think they need to change things all the time. It's not. If something's working well, stay with it as long as possible, build that momentum, and then when something's going wrong and showing you the need to change, that's when you actually should change.
Now, one thing, guys, now this is so important. A lot of people don't actually understand their metrics or anything like that, right? There's a few different things you've got to be tracking, right? You've got to be tracking, obviously, your cost per lead. That's going to indicate exactly whether your ad is actually good. But there's so many more metrics outside of that, like cost per qualified booked appointment, your show up rate, your close rates, and then actually attributing the ads and everything to the sales to which that ad come from. Now, you've obviously been doing this for a long time. Like, how important is it to be tracking all of these metrics to a team?
You have to know everything. Like, the more you can track, the better your business. It's all numbers. Numbers is so important. You have to.
And especially it's like the feedback loop is so important, because thing about the feedback from the setters is like, because when you start running an ad, because of the sales cycle, right, it might take 30 days or 10 days, depending on what industry you're in. So the feedback from the setters and your sales team is sort of that short-term feedback loop. But then you're not, like, until you actually go back and look at the data of where the sales actually come from, it can be lying to you, the data. So you need to like have that short-term
that's the most
feedback loop with the setters and the sales guys, the people that are initially on the calls, because obviously you have to let ads run long enough, and you have to try and look at the short-term feedback to see if they're profitable in the short term, but then you're actually looking at the end of the month, okay, where exactly do these sales come from? Because you might have an ad that's running that has high cost per lead, but the ROAS is actually very significant. So it's very, those feedback loops and then looking at the data is...
And it's so important to get qualitative and quantitative. So quantitative from like show up rates, close rates, everything like that, but also qualitative in terms of actual verbal feedback. Like a lot of people are so focused on just the numbers, but don't understand that feedback is also what people are telling you on those phone calls. So like listen to your setters, listen to your closers. What are they saying about the leads? Because numbers don't tell the full story. You need to see the bigger picture.
This is why it's important to have very good setters and closers. Now, wherever you are in the business, if you're running that, that's totally fine. You're going to be the one that has the feedback. But when you know your setter's good and your closer's good, if they're not closing jobs, you know it has nothing to do with them. If they're very, very good at what they do and they're not closing jobs, it's a lead issue or a process issue. So it's really, really good to make sure either you're really good at what you do or you have the right people. I just want to elaborate, Bray, on that ROAS style of things, because what we actually came to realize recently, I've mentioned this previously, we've spent $150K on ads, right, in total. As you can see, that's generated over $780,000 in sales, right? So it is a good ROAS overall. But the thing that we've actually realized is that is all generated off $50,000 of ads. So $50,000 what we spent on ads generated over $700,000 on actual cash collected. So that's over a 12x ROAS. But what happened to the other 100K? How were we so deceived? Because we looked at the ads and the metrics and it looks good. The lead cost was great. These campaigns were at $50, $60 a lead and we thought that was amazing. So we kept going down that angle, pushing the same offers, pushing the same hooks, pushing the same style creative. But then when we actually studied where the sales were coming from, we realized that they weren't performing. So I'll get you to elaborate. How does that possibly happen? How can something look good, but in the end it's actually not? And why can something look so bad? For instance, your lead cost could be $200-$300, but the ROAS is so much higher. Why does that happen?
Well, it really comes down to the importance of the whole funnel from start to finish, right? And the messaging needs to be so tailored to the thing you're selling. So our niche was air conditioning originally, right? And then we started to divert off to other trade niches, but we had all these testimonials in air conditioning. We had landing pages set up in air conditioning. Our whole funnel was tailored for that. So we started running ads to target other niches. And whilst you might think trades is one niche, but there's actually niches inside of that, like air conditioning renovations. And what we found is, yes, we're getting these cheap leads, we were getting booked calls from these other angles we were pushing. But yeah, when we actually looked at where all the sales come from, it came from the original niche that we had. Our whole funnel was designed around that. So you can get someone through as a cheap lead, you can get a booked call in, but then if the messaging is not correct, the landing page they're going to does not suit the messaging or your testimonials, you can actually lose them at that point. And so we spent $100K on these other niches where our whole funnel was not designed to close these people correctly. And a lot of it was wasted ad spend. So it's very important to have your entire funnel tailored to the actual thing that you're selling.
There's a video and it's basically of a grandstand, right? All these stairs and everything. And at the bottom is a cup. And they've got tens of thousands of balls getting thrown down this grandstand. And not one of the balls hit in this cup. Right? And that's the whole thing. When your messaging isn't clear and you're trying to target everyone, you actually target no one. And often we can have these self-limiting beliefs that I can't do a niche. I can't just target one thing or one industry because there's not enough of a market. But the issue is when we're too broad, we speak to no one and people want to feel like they're working with someone that understands them. So the moral of this whole story is our most success came when we were very clear in our messaging, when the copy was targeted to that industry, when the reviews were targeted to that industry, when the funnel was targeted to that industry. So if you are planning on expanding niches, that's totally fine, but you have to restructure your funnel. You can't set up a funnel and an ad and all that copy and reviews for one niche and try and use the same one in a different industry because the messaging will get skewed and you might get those people on a sales call, but they won't convert because you are taking someone from being cold to hot. To get to that process, they need to see the testimonials. They need to have the copy that speaks directly to them. They need to see the funnel and all of that stuff. So if the messaging isn't targeted to them, even though they might put their details in and even though they might have a sales call, they're not getting warmed up enough along that journey. And that's why you're actually losing people. And that's how the metrics and numbers can be so skewed. Because on paper, it looks good. You're like, oh, I'm hitting a new niche. Lead cost is good. I'm getting sales call booked in. But they're not getting primed enough in between because the messaging wasn't directly to them.
And it's crazy. Like it cost us spending this extra 100K, and then to actually have to go back and look at that. Like imagine if we had that skewed from the beginning, you know, we would have thought it wasn't working, right? So it was kind of lucky that we were so niched in the beginning, but we then went out and essentially wasted an extra 100K to realize that, you know. So we now have that blueprint after spending all that money, and we have the exact formula on how to set up that whole funnel so it's tailored, and it will get results.
How are you? Ben Horn Building.
How are you?
Everything's to the millimetre, my friend. Ben Horn. Yes, Ben.
Good
The name is Ben. I'm a
Good
builder
Ben.
for Horn Developments Opportunities. Thank you. Good
on
to
ya.
meet you. G'day, mate. Ben Horn here. How are you, mate? Just here to measure up the house. How can I help you today, young friend? Ben. The name's Ben. Whoa! Ben Horn.
Can you guys tell me what you guys are doing?
Nothing. This is just how I dress. I'm just heading to the cafe to have a coffee. Just catching up with some friends, and I got a date as well. Very nice girl. I just wanted to dress the part, you know. I just wanted to look like a classy gentleman. I think that a lot of people focus too much on their fashion now, and I think it's about efficiency. If I need to just fix something, I can fix it straight away. You know, I'm smart. Thinking outside the box. Do you reckon with the earmuffs around there?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Air conditioning business owners doing over 25K a month, here is the deal. I guarantee I can book you an extra 5 ductors per week in the next 90 days, and if I can't, I'll give you all your money back and $5,000 for wasting your time. In the next 90 days, and if I
Yeah,
can't,
good.
I'll give you
It's really good. Okay, so then it's the same line,
Yep.
but then you say, and I'll even sell the leads. I'll call the leads up and I'll sell them for you.
That did cause some backlash last time.
We signed so many clients so far.
Yeah.
So many.
Yeah.
I just think it's like a controversial thing. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Air conditioning business owners doing over 25K a month, here's the deal. I guarantee that I will book you 5 ductors a week in the next 90 days. Air conditioning business owners doing over 25K a month, here's the deal. I guarantee I can book you 5 ductors a week in the next 90 days, and if I can't, I'll give you all your money back and $5,000 for wasting your time. And I'll even personally call every single lead myself and book them in for you. For anyone out there who has an agency and works with a lot of clients, you know that once you start to scale, when you have 10 clients, it's easy. Anyone can manage 10 clients, right? But when you're running 40, 50, 60 different ad accounts, it's so critical to have a dashboard that tracks everything. Now, we've researched so many different softwares, agency analytics, a bunch of other stuff to see what's the best way to track everything in one universal spot. Now, the issue with that is, right, let's say you're working in a niche. Let's say you're only doing one specific niche, and you want to bring a client on and they're in the same area and you've got other clients in that area. You need to be able to quickly see what static ad am I running already in that area, which ones are performing, which ones are not. Because the last thing you want to do is bring someone on in the same niche, in the same area, and then use the same ad for them. So we've actually built a custom dashboard on Google Sheets that literally shows every single ad account that we're running. It has the static ad there as well, so it shows us where it is. We can categorize it based on state, based on the niche that we're working with, and then it even shows the lead cost and the lead cost over the last 7 days. So this thing is absolutely insane. If you're an agency owner and you are running ads, or you have some done for you service where you're running ads for businesses, this is a must have. You have to check this out. It's gonna blow your mind. You can literally see here, we have the business names that we're working with. We have all the static ads literally on here. Scroll down. These are all the accounts that we're working with right now. 35, 37, 44. These are all active ad accounts. Now, if we want to bring on a client, let's say we want to bring on a client in Melbourne, right? And that we know the industry we're in. It's like, cool, we can click on there, see which ads we're running in that state already, and then we can go back to other states and say, well, this static ad's winning in New South Wales, and we haven't used that in Melbourne yet. So all we have to do is grab that ad and implement it into this Melbourne business. So it's the best way to be able to quickly just track that on an overview level.
I literally went through probably 10 other softwares. I built even some custom dashboards in some different softwares, but the beauty about this is it's actually in Google Sheets. So not only can you pull in the data in, it updates every hour, by the way, but you can put in, say, because another thing is it's one thing to be able to look at this dashboard, but then you need to go, okay, who needs to be refreshed? Or say you have a media buyer that's working for you in because we've been running ads for these niches for quite a long time, we know proven strategies. So I can come in here and put notes in and say, use this text, this headline, even drop in a winning creative, like a Canva link to go use this. So it becomes a really good central place that when you start to employ as well, you can give your team access. And everyone can look at this daily, like first thing in the morning, and go, right, who do we need to work on? What accounts need attention? It's very, very good. I've not seen anything like it. You can, pull in a lot of extra data, customize, change your filtering, however you want the data displayed. I've not seen anywhere else, that you can really do this well.
And just a quick one. Obviously, Bray has tried a bunch of different softwares. Now, what is the average cost of something like, say, Agency Analytics or one of those softwares that track all your ad accounts? Like, how much does that normally cost per month?
You can be spending thousands of dollars each month, yeah.
Do you know how much Agency Analytics is? Is it like $2,000 a month or something?
I think when I got the quote, it was around $2,000, for the amount that we needed.
So literally $2,000 every single month to have something like this. It's going to cost you over $20,000 a year. How much does it cost to run something like this?
I think this is like $20 a month. So
$20 a month. So this exact dashboard here can literally save you over $24,000 every single year. It's a game changer. Plus it helps you scale so much quicker. You can jump on. There's nothing that is out there like this. It's an absolute game changer for the industry.
And it saves you, because prior to this, you would have to jump into each individual ad account and cycle through. When you're running 60 or so clients, that can take you hours and hours each day, and you just have no visibility. So it is very, very powerful.
Can you scroll and show us exactly how many clients we currently have?
So let me select all the niches.
Damn.
This is all the current ads we're running. So obviously some clients have multiple ads. It's up to 87.
87
current ads.
We currently have 87 different ads, but we don't have 87 clients for full transparency. Yes, a couple of the clients are running 2 ads, not many. I think off the top, how many do you reckon we have? 65?
Yeah,
probably around 65 active clients right now. So guys, everything we're teaching you, it's not just things that we learnt 10 years ago. It's not recycled information that isn't actually relevant now. The issue with all of these people teaching you marketing, teaching you these strategies, that they scaled an agency in 2019 or 2020. It's different now. You need different strategies for 2025. The game has changed. It's not the same as what it used to be. So everything that we're imparting onto you, it's what we're doing right now in our own agency. We haven't walked away from this. We haven't sold it. We haven't shut doors. We're actively working on this and just teaching you exactly what we're doing every single day. So the reason I want to do this YouTube channel is every time I learn a new lesson, I want to give it to you. Every time we have a setback, I want to pass it on to you so you learn it. Every time we have a costly mistake, I just want to pass it on to you so you're learning it every single time.